Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
But you running off to Italy and not letting us know.
I did?
When?
Yeah, we choose to ignore that you did, and instead
On the
leave
you
blame
did on the day.
for you.
No,
I'm pretty sure we didn't.
I did on the
No,
Friday
nobody else
game just before the
Oh yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
game that no one else is in. Yeah.
Those two are completely right. No one else to blame. Okay. Some are in, some are not. So let's give folks a bit of a wait. What have we got
Oh,
left?
potential science project that Ed's is going to come to Vibers for.
Uh-oh.
The next time. Oh, it's not that bad. It's piggybacking off the system you use for your torpedoes.
Literally piggybacking on torpedoes. Is this guy's going to be sit astride torpedoes?
That's how we prove guidance.
Okay. Unfortunately, that needs to be known as Project Strangelove.
Yep. There's no other name for it.
Okay, so whilst folks are busy logging in, I'm just going to throw things over quickly to the intro vid. We'll be back in a couple of moments. Hello folks, and welcome to the continuing adventures of the USS Navis. I am MJ the GM, and I will be your games master for the next couple of hours. With me are the crew of the USS Navis, and we've, well, two of us at least, have been quite excitedly discussing the launch of Daggerheart come out recently. So yeah, very much looking at that with an eye to getting it, and Shaun of course already has it, so you know, everyone, especially me, are now Shaun's friend. So I would just like to preface this game by saying that Nova automatically wins, and it's just like it's like a Columbo episode now. We already know that Nova's going to win, we just have to find out exactly how she does it. So yeah, there you go.
So what we'll find out is bribing the GM with something in some way, shape, or form really works.
Absolutely. In fact, if anybody else would like to attempt bribery, I am more than happy to accept. No, nobody else. Oh, I'm disappointed. Okay, let's crack on then, shall we? Who have we not got signed in yet? Gareth, doesn't look like you're fully signed into Foundry yet.
Sorry, give me a few minutes.
No problemo. Who else? 1, 2, 3. No, that would make everybody then. Everybody who wants to hear Sirenscape can hear Sirenscape. That's everyone checking that they've actually pressed play now.
That's the one.
I do now, they say. Ruby. Let me just check another something. Yes. Okay, groovy. Alright then, so while folks are signing in and folks are busy pressing play to make sure that they can actually hear Sirenscape, let's do a quick recap, especially since our XO was not with us last time. So needs to be told of what we've done to the ship. I mean, what they've done to the ship. I mean, what I've done to the ship. Because, you know. So, last time we were
How
here...
much paperwork?
Well...
Yes. Well, the captain did still leave you as the highest ranking officer on the ship, I do believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
There was a brief moment, certainly. Because the captain just wanted to be able to pilot a shuttle. By shuttle, I mean runabout. And did it very well as well, if I recall. So, the stardate is 51194.4, and the Navis has been relegated towards relegated to investigating a binary star system in order to make sure that all the various patchwork fixes that had been put together are all holding up so that the Navis can be posted back to active operations against the Dominion once again. But whilst they were investigating this binary star system, there was a strange transmission which was backtraced to be emanating from a comet passing just outside of the local star system. And an analysis of that comet found that it had an artificial core. Naturally, being the curious types, the crew managed to go out and retrieved the core and beamed it back onto the ship. Meanwhile, the communications crew were busily trying to interpret the transmission being transmitted from the comet's interior. And,
oh yes.
Well, it was pretty self-evident in the end what the whole transmission was about as they opened up the pod that they had discovered in the middle of that comet and found it to contain a strange life form. A life form that, when the pod had been opened, came back to consciousness and was discovered to be an energy-draining alien predator creature, and the message was essentially a beacon saying, "Stay away, do not open," after they'd opened it. But, hey, you know, if they really wanted to be efficient in warning everybody not to do it, it should have had a very big red flashing light on it. But even then, let's face it.
Even then, it wouldn't have even had time for the bulb to dim before someone's come and gone, "Ooh, big flashy light, I need one of those."
We'd have opened it faster.
Yeah. So, the life form has all the appearances of a large panther, except for the fact that it is able to stand on its hind legs just as easily as it's able to get around on all fours. But it also has these weird tendrils sticking out the back of its shoulder blades, and its eyes glow a bright yellow. As stated, it appears to be some kind of energy-draining life form. It was, when examined before it fully woke up by Dr. Bertram, it was determined that the energy-draining filaments in the life form's tendrils, claws, and teeth had very distinct similarities to the energy-draining moss that Dr. Bertram utilizes so much. But the creature is now loose on the ship, and so the crew are now trying to isolate and contain this creature before it does too much damage.
Stop it from eating Unit Hello.
Yes, that was the last thing that happened. Was the creature seemed to be heading? Now, it was opened up on Deck 6 in the secondary science lab. The primary science lab, also on Deck 6, was apparently its next target. And the crew raced to try and stop it. And there was a scuffle. A scuffle whereupon everyone essentially tried to dogpile the creature in order to hold it down. Dr. Bertram also managed to inject some of his Bertram moss into the creature. But the creature was rather slippery and managed to get free of the group grapple and made a go at going for Unit Hello's 3 crystalline cores. At which point, Unit Hello seemed to... Well, let's face it, if it was in a living organic creature, it would have been attributed to panic. Unit Hello somehow gained control of the ship's warp engines and engaged them, whilst simultaneously lowering the output of the inertial dampers, meaning that everybody was thrown against the nearest bulkhead as the ship accelerated. And that's pretty much where we found ourselves by the end of play last time. That is the computer core. What am I doing? It's slightly over from
Right.
that.
So, just to summarise, Unit Hello has managed to do the one thing that was one of the reasons why we said don't plug it into the main computer and give it access to all the things through the ship.
Because you said that it did it. It learned from your recordings. So it's your fault.
Yeah, probably.
What is going on there? Right, has Andrew's token morphed strangely to anybody else?
It's not so much morphed. It seems to have. The token seems to have left.
Jumped up to the top
character.
left, isn't it? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
part of the background, it looks like.
Weird.
Because it's in
All I
between things.
did was change its
She got
hit.
grid space dimensions.
Davis,
okay, so yeah.
last week, Andrew's got hit by the beast so hard that her form literally got punched away from where she was standing.
It's staying around the periphery.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Yeah.
Now I'm just making
She's getting
Andrews
annoyed because
dance all
everyone-
around the place.
Everyone who talks to her keeps looking slightly to her right.
Double check what you've got the anchor set to.
There we go. Anchors are set to 0.5 each way. That's better.
Yeah.
Anchor 1 is the top left, so that's an interesting reference. For some reason, Andrews' token was half-sized, so she'd gone from being human to being a halfling.
Oh.
So I have no idea what happened there. Still looks like her token is a bit small for some reason, but no. Weird. Let me compare it to somebody else's token. Yeah. Okay. So, everybody ended up in a pile over in this corner because there was a door open. The creature seemed to evolve itself. If not evolve, then morph its shape so that it took up more space as it infused itself with extra, well, musculature, I suppose, and clawed its way along the floor, dragging itself by the grip it was putting into the bulkheads so that it could sneak out the door, whilst everyone else was pretty much pressed up against the bulkhead in a heap. So that is where we find ourselves. So on the bridge, on the bridge with Mr. Vibers currently in
That was a
command.
point. We didn't notice the sound gun did actually was useful, as I say. We know it's potentially vulnerable to high frequencies.
Let's put these guys over there as well.
So it's just something for Davis to mull over because he comes up with some interesting ideas at times.
So everyone on the bridge, in the meantime, was just listening to all of the goings-on over the comms, when all of a sudden, of course, the warp engines kicked in, and so everybody's on the bridge has now been pushed back into their seats. So, is there anything I missed out, or anything anybody needs clarification on before we continue? I'll take that as a no. Okay. The current situation we have then is... you guys are all pressed up against a bulkhead. With, currently, a lot of G-forces preventing you from going any further. I may have just sent a Discord message to somebody.
Yeah, I got.
Meanwhile, yes, Viber's up on the bridge. He's just felt himself get thrown into his seat. And because inertial dampers have gone down, everybody who's not actively facing the direction that the ship is going are just hanging on over the side of their seats.
Okay. They've all run down to the main computer core, I presume, from...
Yeah, so everybody up here, by here, we're on the bridge. They are now no longer.
Right. From what I remember, so this is more of a what does a character remember type question. If we do the lockout the main computer thing, would we be able to get the inertial dampeners back?
Lock out the main computer. You could try, certainly.
I.e., Jude, press that protocol with your name in it.
Currently busy. Kevin. Somebody's busy squeezing my brains out into the bulkhead.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So, Vibers, where are you? Can you get at Vibers' character sheet from there, or do you need me to post him through here just for ease?
Right. Give me a sec.
Yeah, prob.
First edition.
Again, Nova wins today, just in case anybody wants to.
Okay.
Yeah, turns out I did back it in mine.
Right. Let's turn that protocol on via verbal command. So, see if it will go through. Main computer, engage Viper's Latude protocol, lockout, and insert code here. See if it will kick in.
Restrictive computer program detected. This unit is disabling. Stand by. Main computer lockout. In. Resetting.
So,
Yep.
For a moment, it appears that
You're back,
something didn't work. But then it seems something has just, I don't know, gone wrong with Unit Hello, because the warp engines summarily shut down again, and inertial dampers come back to normal, and everybody who's currently pressed up against a bulkhead or into their seat falls forward as the inertia or the gravitic forces lessen back up to what you are normally able to. So
I'm back.
down still on deck
Okay.
6, Ensign Eric comes around and goes, "Everybody okay? Everybody okay?" At which point Ensign Cruz go, "Don't let it get away!" So she gets up and scrambles off with Eric. Look, it left a trail. Let's go, let's go! At which point Cruz yells back, Cap, we'll keep tracking it for you. So that's where they're going for the moment. Meanwhile, what would the rest of you like to do?
They mentioned that it's left a trail.
Yes.
I'm going to go see if I can find this trail, and if it's, say, it's like bleeding or leaving some trace from an injury or something, I want to see if I can make some samples and then get it analysed to see if I can find any other way of tracking or taking this thing down.
Well, the trail is fairly easy to follow to the naked eye because it is these great big claw marks that are gouged into the floor, where the thing literally dragged itself whilst everyone else was pressed up against the bulkheads due to inertia.
Okay, so
So-
it's not necessarily it's left like a blood trail, it's just evidence of it in its wake.
I can dream.
Yes, indeed. Give me a second. So, yes, there's not as such... I mean, as much as there would be some cellular evidence left behind from whatever cells were sloughed off from the claws, digging into what are starships made out of again? I made the mistake of saying deuterium before. That's not true.
Uranium?
Duranium, thank you. I knew it was too close to deuterium to be...
I was going to say, wouldn't there have been some cells on where you injected the bug creature on the whatever you used to penetrate the skin?
Yeah, but I think in both cases we need some substantial sort of stuff rather than a few cells, because it'd be like getting a few skin cells off someone and trying to actually work out how their blood and circulatory and nervous system works to try and incapacitate them.
Was it? No, when you were studying the capsule, did you work out how how the creature was kept in suspended animation?
It seems to be just some sort of hibernation. I remember I compared it to.
Thing.
Yeah, I remember I compared it to how a bear goes hibernation in winter when the environment gets hostile and food sources go down. I compared it to something similar.
Okay.
So, who? No, that's from before. Oh, there he is, right there with you. So you've still got Bravo Chief of Security with you. So meanwhile, Viper's back on the bridge. Everything has just shuttered back into normal operation again.
Okay. Right, who've I got on the bridge again?
Let's have a look. Let's go back to the bridge.
Because this is the... Right, I've got Cursed there. Cool. And if I remember... Yes. Cursed, can you get, mate... Can you get, inertial dampeners to local operation only and get them isolated from the main system? And the same with life support. We can't afford this to happen again.
Very well, Captain. I mean,
drag in anyone else you need.
I think I can do this myself, thank you, Commander.
Okay.
Right.
Commander Vipers says, Mono, I've lost sensors for internal sensors for Deck 6.
Okay. Here's my security person on the bridge.
Natik.
Natik, lock down Deck 6.
I
want
believe
to-
the captain already did that, Commander. I'm
Right,
showing
we've already got
lockdown in place.
Yeah, we've got lockdown. I think it was like
We've got security
a few,
teams on every hatch already.
It was on a few decks on either side of the one where the creature was, which I can't remember which deck that was. But it was basically to cover like it's. Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's. I know it was 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I think. Don't quote me on that.
Right. So I've already got lockdown around them. Okay. Are we still able to get through to the captain?
I think so, sir. Cashin?
Vibers to Andrews.
He throws the question over. Cashin has the following voice. If I can just load it. Loading. Still loading. Here we go.
The sensor interference is also affecting remote comms. However, we can still do manual comms, which we can patch through the individual panels on the deck. I can try and see if someone's answering.
Right. Where were they heading?
Well, last year, remember,
Main
was
science
Deck 6.
lab.
Yep.
Right. Call one of the consoles on the main science lab.
So, down on
let's
Deck
see
6.
if we can get through.
Bearing in mind, last week we did kill the power to the entire deck.
Oh, in which case, yeah, never mind. Okay, right,
The
we'll keep that
entirety of
locked
deck
down.
6. The
Entirety
entirety
of
for
deck
survivors' benefit. The entirety of deck 5, 6, and 7 has been isolated.
Right.
Power.
Okay. In which case, yeah, we've locked out the main computer as much as we can. We've got life support and we're getting life support and inertial dampeners disconnected from main computer control. So even if the lockdown fails, they can only be run locally.
Yep.
So once they've done that, some ensign or rating is now standing at a console in various spots around the ship going on, off.
Fair enough.
Because that's as much control as they're gonna get.
You can just imagine that, can't you? Right, Ensign, you stay here. And unless someone tells you otherwise, you make sure the switch is set to on at all times, okay?
Right. What you look at is that little gravity meter there. It needs to stay at 1. If it goes up or down, adjust the power level next to it appropriately. If you fall asleep, you're fired out the nearest airlock.
Bit harsh, but okay.
If he falls asleep, he's dead, because he's crushed, because he wasn't paying attention to the dampers.
Fair enough, Ski. So,
If he falls asleep, he's not going to survive to be thrown out of an airlock, because we're all dead. Or at least that part of that deck might be.
So, Captain Andrews, Lieutenant Nova, Lieutenant Edwards, Dr. Bertram, Commander Claude, and Commander Bravo are currently still on Deck 6 in the primary science labs. Unless Navis wants to add anything there. Nope.
Yes.
Yes.
One more thing that I'm going to do. We have some of the holographic torpedoes still on board.
You have many torpedoes still on board.
I'm going to activate 2 of them while they're still on the ship.
I should say this thing is actually in an intelligent life form as well, so it's not a base beast for us to lure out.
That's fine.
Just in
Holograms
case
can
you saw
do
you
all
were going
sorts of things. But
Holograms also have power.
Yeah.
It'd be more attractive to the torpedo than the hologram.
Torpedo launchers and torpedo magazines are currently on Deck 20.
yes, but these torpedoes have their own holographic emitters separate from the ship's systems. So what we can do is we can populate some of the areas around the isolated deck with the generic grunt that we put on the system previously as decoys, because the system should at least report when they start disappearing.
The only issue with that is we're giving it power. And we've seen it's been
that's the
absorbing
point. This
power.
thing generates power. Yeah, let's not do that.
Which is why Andrews ordered for decks 5, 6, and 7 to be completely powered down, and also why the gravity is a bit low on those decks.
5, 6, and 7. Deck 7. Hang on a second. Why does that sound familiar? Computer core, surgery suites 1 to 3, quarantine, decontamination, diagnostic labs, surgical recovery rooms, surgery waiting room.
You just depowered sickbay.
I'm going to go back to sickbay, and the comet beast is just going to be lying in the biobed, looking at me expectantly and going, "Well, I know about your Hippocratic oath."
Well, if that's where my cat decides it wants to make its home, that's fine.
Right.
Oh yes, in
Anything
case
else
I
we can
I
do
did
that?
forget that. I believe Nova claimed dibs.
She's adopted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think anything else we can do, and the only thing I can think of that's I don't want to jettison the core.
Okay, jettisoning the core. I think we go hunting. As in we've got the Klingon army, like we said last time.
Yeah, close combat weapons that are non-energy based.
Hmm.
We could potentially lure it into an area with these decks being isolated, and also set the army up to attack it at the same time. Because if we transport a lot of people into one big open space, it's a lot of power going into that space.
So, what would you like to do?
What's the biggest space on deck 5, 6, or 7?
5, 6, or 7. Deck 5. Junior officers' quarters. The gym.
Oh, the gymnasium. We were
gymnasium
doing it in the wrestling ring.
Also on deck 6, there's cargo holds A to G. Deck 7, like I said, the decontam chamber. And the surgery
that might
waiting
work.
rooms.
Decon chamber's probably not a bad plan.
Is there a holodeck?
Yep, that's on the entertainment deck. Deck 10.
I guess that could be a lot of power and also potentially generate something useful.
Yeah, but that would be having to open up the decks that stand between it and 10 to let in.
I've got a way to get you whatever you want on a holodeck. Without the holodeck, we have them in torpedo form. Where do you want a holodeck?
Gareth really wants to use the holotorpedoes.
Well, it's one of going. I put holo generators on something with its own independent power supply that might be set to explode from time to time. We can put that anywhere on the ship you need.
We'll restore power to the gymnasium, and then get as many melee-based individuals.
Gym.
Be teleported in, to be transported into there.
So going up. Okay. So you guys are going where? The six characters who are currently in front of me here on Deck 6 Primary Science Labs are going to be going where? Whilst
Deck 5
somebody
gymnasium.
else. You're going up to Deck 5.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm wondering if I should go after Eric.
I think we should be tracking. Yeah.
Cruise in
I
case
think
one of them gets injured.
Yeah, we should probably track those two. But then the order will be then to evacuate it, to shut down Deck 4, power up the gymnasium in Deck 5, and get all melee-based operatives of the crew to the Deck 5. And we're just going to turn it into a pub kicking.
I've heard of this thing called a disco ball we could put up in the gymnasium as well, with big shiny lights on it.
This is
That'll be a
starting to remind
distraction.
me more of an episode of Buck Rogers in the 25th century, but hey, classic sci-fi. Biddy biddy biddy.
That count as a cross reference for tonight.
Let's go, Buck.
Do we have time to set up the big TV for the wrestling openings? And get into costume.
Jumbotron. Yeah.
I mean, if we're keeping power down there, the easiest way to try and lure out, as much as it probably will be a bit smart to just blindly walk in, would be just to pop something in that obviously generates power. It's like,
well, transporting people in is going to be a massive amount of power.
yeah, but you'd want something constant so it'd pick it up on it rather than flashes.
Just restoring power to the room.
True. Actually, it doesn't have to be a lot. If it's any power source within a few decks, then yeah.
Right. Gymnasium. Ooh. Do I still have...
Just transporting a big old generator.
Okay. So you guys are doing that. Is anyone going with Bertram to find out where Cruz and Eric went off to? Or
Yeah.
the 5?
So we would go. Yeah. We would go.
But you would order other folks to start powering up the gymnasium diversion. Or the gymnasium pub kicking.
If we take Bravo with us, Pluck can be the one that's organising the pub kicking.
Okay.
Or in fact, no, get Monoko to organise it.
Okay. So
I'm pretty sure he's good at pub kicking.
so keep this group of people here then, and go after Eric and Cruz.
Well, it's Nova's cat. So what does Nova want to do? Does she want to follow it, or does she want to pub kick it?
I'll probably follow it,
Okay.
just in case.
Let's get you to... Right then, so, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you, and... Okay, let's bring you back here. So, you guys follow the trail left by the creature, leaving rents in the floor. The place is still pretty much black because of the power cut. This is the area which would take you to the Jeffries tubes, so access to the decks above and below where you're currently at, which is deck 6. Tricorders having a devil of a time detecting anything. So, following the trail, you eventually come across. Now, not immediately, but entering into the Jeffries tube tunnels, you eventually, as you are plodding through the tunnel, and therefore making the usual feet against grated iron kind of sound, come across both Cruz and Eric. Cruz seems to be flat on her back, unconscious, and Eric is there shaking her, trying to get her awake. Oh, Doc, we need you here right now.
Yep. Going over, Tricorders and medical kit out to see what's going on and what I can do.
Cruz is freezing cold. She has lost all her colour, and she's just unconscious. Eric looks up at the two of you who are closest to her and just goes, the creatures came out of nowhere. I couldn't even tell you how it snuck up on us so fast. I was following Cruz, and all of a sudden something knocked us both down. Next, I looked up to see this big black shadow standing literally over Cruz. It had her pinned down, and there was this flash, and I don't remember much else. But Cruz was on the floor, and she was just shivering, freezing, and she seems to have lost consciousness.
Okay, scanning it.
Okay, so
Which way
Tricord
did
is still having a little bit of trouble, but yes, Webby, what was that?
Which way did it go?
He points. This way, sir. I can lead you. I think. That was the last way I saw it go.
Did she manage to bite it?
No, sir. She was too busy getting pounced on.
Needs to work on that.
Reason and medicine from Dr. Bertram, please. Biology as a focus. Interesting.
The real question is, do I want to waste a Legion of Honor on Cruz? Damn it, I'm a professional.
You have an oath.
It's a no then.
Suffering from extreme hypothermia, so it's as if she lost all her body heat, pretty much. Which is critical, because that means she's at a level where her organs will not operate.
Oh, because she's at that level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She's in danger of imminent death if something isn't done to warm her up quick, to get her some heat back.
Okay. I'm gonna tuck my fin, goes Bertram to Latude.
Luchude here, Luchude here, Doctor.
Can you get a transporter lock on Ensign Cruz?
Power's been shut off to deck 4, I'm afraid. Actually, no, where are you? 6. It was 5, 6, and 7, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pardon me, being an idiot. I had a bit of interference getting lock on you before, but that interference seems to be clearing up a little bit. I'll see if I can't do something. Hold on. Just cruise?
Just Cruz, if you can, I need to beam directly to sickbay.
Give me a moment, at which point I am going to take us to the bridge, because, Navis, if you can do Luchude.
Uh-oh.
And I don't mean do Luchude. What I mean is, be.
Right, what am I rolling?
Be Luchude,
Get trapped in turbo left one time
during
together and people start talking.
It's Luchude. It's going to be control, isn't it? He's far too much of a professional. Yeah, like transporter chief. What is that? When you attempt a task to use, repair, or modify a transporter, you may add 2 threat to reduce the difficulty of the task by 2.
This is Luchude. He's doing that.
Excellent.
It doesn't help the rest of the team, but it helps the Luchude on this one problem. As that fits with his value of do it well enough and he might leave him alone.
Why did he get 2 threat?
That's his ability.
Ooh, just as well you did.
Which ability? I didn't see it.
Oh, excessive.
Basically, he gets the.
Cruz is successfully beamed away, despite the interference.
Bertram then taps. Bertram should know who's currently on duty.
Nurse Bravo.
Sickbay. Okay.
Your trusted second.
So, Bertram to Nurse Bravo.
Acknowledged, Doctor.
Okay. You've got Ensign Cruz beaming in directly to sickbay. She suffered from extreme hypothermia, and her organs are starting to be in dangerous shutting down. You need to get into a biobed immediately, start working on maintaining her inner systems and gradually bringing up her temperature. You know the procedure for this.
Yes, indeed, Doctor. Leave her with us. We've got her.
Okay. Once you got that up and running, be prepared for potentially other casualties coming your way in a high-risk situation. I'll explain more as soon as I get more information.
Just to confirm, actually, that's a very good point. Where are we? Come on. Deck.
Goose.
8. Deck 8. Okay. Power went down on deck 7, but we've still got power for the main medical bay on deck 8. We're not expecting a power blackout, are we?
Hopefully not. But
Then
be prepared
I can warm her
to.
up.
Yeah.
Doctor,
Okay.
while you're there on the comm, I'm getting an alert. Deck 7.
Where?
Cryostasis. We've
Oh, that's
currently
not
got
a fair bit of power.
2. We've currently got only 1 medical pod for keeping some samples alive in cryostasis. Nothing emergent. But as a result, the cryostasis lab has gone on to backup power systems after the Deck 5, 6, 7 shutdown. As such, its backup battery system just alerted me to... Looks like the emergency bulkhead has been opened. I'm showing a fault in one of the systems.
Matt, is that the botany one, or is that where he keeps samples, or something else?
Deck 7 is cryostasis suite. Deck 8 is your botany research lab.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna alert the rest of the guys. Nurse Bravo has alerted me to a bulkhead being opened in cryostasis on deck 7. How easy is it to potentially to get from here to there if that's where the beast is heading?
Oh, you're right. You're in the Jeffries tube. You're not far from a ladder.
I probably know a shortcut.
And
Okay.
Nova probably knows a shortcut.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
At which point
Doctor.
Ensign Eric turns around. Were we not going this way? I get it. This is faster. Okay, yeah, sure.
Doctor, I can't remember. Did you get any type of information when you were scanning it before your tricorder went funny, or was it when it was feeding, or did you get nothing?
Just what I told you.
I can't remember what that is. Alex, the person, because it's been a week.
Partially biological, partially energy based. It's blood is essentially plasma that carries energy.
Did you
It
get
has
a
bit of
read on the actual the type of electrical charge that it carries within the plasma?
It burst out an electromagnetic fields when it fed off the force field. That's the point where the tricorder wasn't able to detect anymore.
So you didn't get any bits of the actual field before it struck, kind of thing.
I couldn't
So
actually get any readings because there was too little energy, and once it had fed, it fried my tricorder.
Just thinking, going back to basics science, like if we can work out what the actual type of charge it is, we could try and manufacture a negative charge to counteract it. Maybe reduce energy in its body and put it back to sleep.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough energy in the plasma prior to its feeding for me able to get that level of detail.
Where's my antimatter sample? By the way?
Where is your
prepared?
antimatter sample? I thought you had it on your person.
I thought the last time I thought engineering was still preparing it.
Oh, right, okay. In that case, that will
If not, then
probably be... If engineering were, that's down on deck 17, because they would have had to have gone down to deck 22 to get it. So probably deck 17 and going up to wherever you need it to be.
you'll relay that to be moved to deck 7. Then,
Move it to deck 7, which means they're
well,
going to...
they head to deck 7, and we'll be heading to deck 7, cryogenics as well.
Okay, because you're closer, engineering will report that you are going to get there a lot faster than them, because as soon as they get to deck 8, they are going to have to put EV suits on, because there's no power to decks 7, 6, and 5. So that's
There's
gonna
no power,
slow
doesn't
down.
mean the oxygen's not circulating through. Because we're not
Yeah, but
wearing
you
EV suits.
wanted gravity turned off so things would float.
Well, yeah, I think to be honest, the gravity would probably have been turned back on because we found that it doesn't no effect to it.
Okay.
Nova is in an EV suit, if that makes any difference.
Yeah, Matt, just a quick
that's right,
question
you
about
said
the
that.
information.
Sorry, go on.
So, about the information that's processed translated from about the creature. Did it go over how it converts energy into something it can stomach?
Nope.
So I'm trying to think, because like if it's retaining energy straight away and it takes time, like an actual digestive system, it'd indicate that the potential charge in its body could be maintained from what it feeds. So basically, it could be whatever the charge is of the energy in the ship. So it'd be easier to find something that's being negative to neutralize it, but if you don't know how it converts it, sorry, I'm just trying to rack my brains of how we could find out what that is. Because that'd be in my head the most simplest way of negating the energy in it and putting it down. But it's just finding that information.
Yep.
Well, if it's energy, it doesn't need to convert because it's just energy to energy. It's matter that matter is digestion.
Well,
Convert matter to energy.
Even though it put out an electromagnetic charge, it's basically finding something along. That's what I was trying to think, specifically negating the electrical charge rather than this being just raw power. It's going to have some sort of. Actually, I'm arguing with the scientist. Ignore me.
Base magic.
Yeah.
There's always space magic.
Right, so eventually you get to deck 7, which is, as has been mentioned, mainly the surgery suites and quarantine decontam areas for the medical crew, and Dr. Bertram can lead you very easily to the cryostasis suite. And indeed, when you get to the main door to cryostasis, you find it has been wrenched open. When you get inside, there's nothing immediately apparent that's wrong until you notice one of the cryostasis pods has actually been smashed. So there's a vent of essentially very cold air coming out of that primary pod. Next to it, on the floor, is a mass of what looks like flesh, but also plant life.
Is there shreds of a uniform next to this flesh?
Doesn't appear to be, no.
Good.
Can I identify the plant life and I suppose the
Well,
flesh?
you'd have to go up close to it, but
I mean, surely there'd be a record of it on the pod itself, what it was containing.
Yeah,
Well,
but it shouldn't have
according
contained
to-
both biological flesh and the plant life. We'd have had those samples separate.
So, Dr. Bertram can tell you that, if anything, the cryostasis facility is used for housing patients whose vitals are in such a critical state and they can't be fixed on board a starship for whatever reason. And so they're put into a form of cryostasis in order to make them safe to transport so that they're not deteriorating. You also use cryostasis for the freezing of perishable samples of things that you want to preserve. As such, primarily the cryopods down on the floor and up here for the bigger things are used for storage of materials, perishable materials, whereas the stasis pods themselves for people are over yonder way. So there wouldn't have been a person stashed in one of those things. But as far as Dr. Bertram's concerned, from what Nurse Bravo told him, the only things being used here in the cryostasis suite are perishable medical materials. And that's not the pod that's been broken open.
I'm gonna go over there. There's a part of me wondering if we're gonna find that the plant is the sample I injected into it, and they went in there and managed to freeze it out to get it out of itself.
That appears to be exactly what happened. Now, interestingly enough,
But you want a DNA sample?
the sample of the Bertram moss has, as you imagined it would have, grown. It's become something of a lump the size of, let's see, you would be able to hold it in your fist, which means it grew exponentially quite large inside of the creature. But the creature itself seemed to resort to, well, something to rip it free.
It flash froze it out of its skin.
But the interesting thing as far as Dr. Bertram's concerned is that even though the moss has obviously grown in a very short space of time, the extreme cold has made it contract into itself and wither, almost to the point where the Bertram moss has curled into itself in a tight ball.
Like the creature.
And it's at this point that you get a comm.
Question to Captain.
Go ahead.
I believe I've managed to finally get to the pertinent piece of information inside of the pod data. As far as I can discern, the people who created the pod identified themselves as the Kidrain. From the information from their transmission, it seems they used to live in what's now known as the Mahasim system, which according to current records is an empty system, close to Mirador. The information suggests that the Kidrain encountered the life form, which they call simply the energy-draining beast, when they explored a planet in the nearby Dregina system on a Class K planet which they called Zemeros. These apparently proved difficult to contain because it drained energy from energy weapons, power cells, and even a few people. They reference it as a ferociously intelligent predator. According to the records, they were finally able to discover it has a weakness to extreme cold, which they used to drain it, apparently. However, they found that the creature, once it's subjected to extreme cold, curled up into some form of stasis or hibernation, which rendered it entirely invulnerable to all attempts to kill it. So instead, they elected to seal it up in a pod and fire it off into space, making sure to project it along a course that would see it never come near any planetary system. And of course, they fitted a warning beacon in the hopes that it would remain contained until somebody somewhere could find a way to dispose of it.
Is it music breaking up a little bit?
It's you.
Ah, it's you. It's all you.
I had it fine. So.
A little bit, but it was part of the thing, so it's fine.
And Vipers being on the bridge will have heard this briefing as well.
Can I scan the piece of flesh as well, in case it's...
Sure, there's not much of it. It's like flash frozen leather. But sure, you can have a little go.
Yep.
Anything particular you're looking for?
Well, if this fin basically cut this fin off, it'd be like the equivalent of us cauterizing a wound. And given the information we just got as well, I'm considering if making it freezing it hurts it to the point where it'll sort of like go into its invulnerable hibernation. I'm wondering if there's a possibility of actually getting a dramatic effect by giving it heat and then freezing it very, very quickly from a much higher temperature, similar to the way that a glass bowl can survive being extremely cold, but if it's extremely hot and then immediately made extremely cold, it's sort of more than it can handle.
Right.
It'll shatter. I'm wondering if we could do something similar with the creature.
Interesting.
As far as scanning the leftover sample, it's just in case there's anything this bigger sample, even though it's been flash frozen, can give.
Well, I'm going to take a quick trip to the facilities, so I will be back in all of a minute, so do excuse me. Back soon.
To me, it sounds like it's operating more like a battery than anything else. So,
it's intelligent enough to come here and use this to essentially operate on itself to remove a contagion. I don't think that beast. I don't know if it's intelligent in the way we are, but I think it's actually definitely intelligent and in some way alien, like sentient.
yeah, but its internal workings were all plasma and didn't get spent around its body. So it sounds more like its genetic makeup is that of a battery than a...
Maybe, yeah.
So making it hotter essentially would make it more efficient as...
Is it getting smarter the warmer it gets?
it may be that it absorbed that from...
And I'm back.
There's the potential that it absorbed that from Cruz.
Yeah. The condition would make sense if it leached body heat from her.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further information that you've divined or have planned during my brief absence? Excellent. In which case...
Question to Dr. Bertram.
Bertram here.
We're reading the sensor blackout has moved. We're now reading sensors coming back online on Deck 7. But Deck 8 is now blacked out.
Oh, hell, that's where sickbay is, isn't it? Thank you, Cashin. Bertram's Nurse Bravo, can you hear me?
Doctor, in addition,
Yep.
it looks like your botany research lab is registering a breach.
Okay, well, I know where I'm heading. I'm going to start heading straight to the botany research area.
What about the rest of y'all?
From what we know of the ship, what around the botany area is got a lot of power in it.
Deck 8, computer core, medical bay, 65-bed recovery area, clinic, doctor's offices, counselling suite, but nobody uses that, that's been offline for ages. Life science labs, botany research lab, mycelia spore bay, life pods. Computer core would be the closest thing?
It's going to be the biggest one.
Yeah, I think we head there and try and head it off.
We've it was in a cryogenic suspension when we found it, wasn't it?
Yes, its own, as we discussed with the doctor. It put itself in there, but yeah.
Well,
but
I think it more it broke it.
It
and
wasn't
used it as a
cryogenic, I
tool.
don't think.
It was less
No.
cryogenic, where it was just devoid of all atmosphere and heat or anything like that, so yeah.
So it's void of energy. So if we can reduce the temperature to absolute zero, it will, in theory, freeze it.
I mean, we could do that
Did we?
if you could just vent it into space, lure it into an airlock.
No, because space isn't absolute zero.
Did we say we know where it came from?
Yes, we do now.
What were you thinking,
Right.
Davis?
Take it home.
Okay,
Well,
so
they'd
the
appreciate
information...
it.
Sorry, go on, Shaun.
I'm just saying, I'm sure they'd appreciate that. So just jettison it into space with a message saying "Don't open." We brought your cat back.
So what
Well,
Cashin just
no,
said
well-
was that this beast was found on a planet by a spacefaring race, who then decided it was far too much trouble to try and kill, and so they shot it into space.
Yes, but do we know what planet it was found on?
Roughly, yes.
Right.
Whether or not that was its point of actual origin.
It might not be. But if we drop it off there, it might stay.
Okay, cool, interesting thought.
I'm-
Go on.
There's a part of me that really doesn't want to let this creature live if it's
There's also
gaining
be a risk of
intelligence.
whoever goes near
Yeah.
the planet.
If it can absorb energy, what's to say it can't absorb the energy of a planet over time?
Also, there might be those who might try to weaponize it. Imagine this being fired
Right.
into a population
Where
center.
where is the energy blackout or the signal blackout now? Exactly. Whereabouts on the deck? Yeah, whereabouts on the deck?
The entire deck is now no longer functioning for internal sensors. Ensign Eric comes. I could go. What? You know, I could go. I could maybe run around, make some noise, see if I can attract its attention.
And do what when it finds you?
Well, that'll allow the rest of you to... I'll try and lure it back to you guys.
And do what? At this moment in time, we don't have a plan of attack apart from potentially let's freeze the entire deck.
Oh, okay, so you got me there. But we got
There's
something,
still the
right?
potential to lure it into a trap, though, right?
There is.
At least it's going to stop
But
it
we are-
rampaging through the ship.
but we have set up trap areas. We've put energy signals out, and it is not targeting them. It's targeting the computer core. I think emergency transport to the computer core, all available hands. That's got to be the most how. Let's see if we can cut it off before it gets there.
I mean, we can influence where it goes with this information, so we can just not necessarily have to freeze all decks, but we can.
And it ignored it. We created a massive energy spike on deck 5, and it ignored it.
I meant more with the cold. You start turning down the temperatures in places where we don't want it, and funnel it to places where we can handle it a bit better. That's more my thinking.
For the moment, you guys are heading to primary computer core.
Except Bertram, who's been
Except
heading
Bertram,
towards
who's
his
going
bottom
elsewhere. Yes. So let me throw folks in that direction then. Okay. So doodly-doo, 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 and appropriate mood lighting. Make it absolute darkness, but at least make it dark. And the same goes for you guys going to primary computer core, because that is the most likely place it is going. Cool. So, you guys are currently on deck 7, which means you need to go down another level to deck 8. So you all together as a group head down back into the Jeffries tubes, get to the ladder, head down into deck 8. And at that point, you split up because one of you, Dr. Bertram, breaks off to head over to the botany research lab immediately, whereas the rest of you head towards the biggest power output on that deck, which is indeed primary computer core. The primary computer core of your ship is so huge it actually takes up multiple decks. So even though technically deck 6 is primary computer core, it takes up like 3 decks, 2-3 decks. So huge computer. So even though this map will say deck 6, it's the deck 8 version of primary computer core. So you get to primary computer core and you find the deck dark, and you manage to have made it to the entrance to primary computer core, and so far it doesn't show any signs of damage. It's entirely possible that the creature hasn't got here yet. So, is there anything you would like to do in preparation? Vibers, what's going on with you at the moment? Sorry, no, they've just answered. Go on, sorry. Webby, you just had an answer?
Try and beam in as many Klingons as possible.
Beam in!
Panel beat.
All the
panel beat it with backleft.
Let me grab a few Klingons then. Alex, you were saying something.
No.
No?
So, can I mess with the heating system and go through with the doctor's plan of making it a lot warmer in here?
Okay.
Just to see if that does have any effect on it. So.
Let me grab Klingon security officer and duplicate. And make the place warmer, you say. Okay.
Yeah.
Environmental messing with, which I suppose comes under inner workings. So...
Wait, warmer?
Yeah, warmer. Yeah. So it can then be... This is the plan of... Yeah, make it where it wants to go.
This is the plan of... Yeah, make it where it wants to go, heat it up, and then try and rapid freeze it. So we can potentially have Vibers working on a freeze rate.
Okay. I was going to ask Vibers what he was going to be up to, so we'll get to that in just a sec. In which case, this is probably going to be control and engineering for Nova, because you want to raise it just enough, not to charboil everybody in here. Everyone chill. I'm not sure I'm going to give you the automatic win anymore for bringing Batman and Robin into this, but there we are. Oop, 3 successes. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Right then, so Viber's back on the bridge, does notice that the area around the primary computer core has started to get warmer. Now, warm isn't exactly great for computers.
Right. We've isolated the important parts from primary computer core. Right, for where we are now, is there anywhere safe we could actually jettison this thing if we could get it off the ship?
Well, you went out of the binary star system you were in order to have a good old look at the comet, which means the Navis was drawing a parallel course with the comet for a while.
And then we had an out-of-control warp jump.
Then you had an out-of-control warp jump. So you have since left the system, so you are in inter-system space at the moment. But you are still close enough to... Where were you? You were close enough to the system that you were previously scanning. Yes, Webby, sorry.
What star types are the two binaries?
I had it. I don't have it anymore. Let me have a look. Did it have a habitable world? No, it didn't. It was a binary star. Baton Katos Y type B.
Yeah, we could jettison it into the star.
It absorbs energy. I wouldn't really want to put it in a very big source of energy.
And it does grow bigger when it
Potentially too
absorbs
much energy, though, because it swells. So if it was absorbing energy faster than it could contain, that's a potential option. We either reduce energy to absolute zero, which technically doesn't happen because you have 0 point energy, or you give it too much energy to cope with.
It absorbs energy. Oh, that could work. Could you get it to one of the cargo bays that has external hull access?
At the moment, it's going where it wants to go. We've not managed to lead it anywhere.
If you can lead it somewhere, we could rig a chamber to fill with water, which it'll absorb the energy, so it'll surround itself in ice. At which point, we jettison this big cube of ice the size of a cargo bay and leg it.
Okay.
I don't need a freeze ray. It is a freeze ray.
So, with that plan on ice...
Are you suggesting we pull out the hot tubs that hadn't been touched since someone went, and then just run electrical current through it?
No,
right enough to keep
you've got it.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's exactly it. It's something which has a large energy signature.
We
produces a large amount of noise, has a bio because we haven't managed to decontaminate these things.
So it's technically canon that we has these, so.
And we'd be storing them in a cargo bay, which very conveniently is likely to be the one.
I'm pretty sure I only had one massive hot tub, not like an entire deck of hot tubs,
No, we had a spare. You definitely had a spare.
There's too many quantum torpedoes.
So it would have had to have been a foldable, storable jacuzzi.
Inflatable.
No, it's a full-size one. It's just the fact that we store torpedoes standing upright in it as a torpedo rack when it's not in use.
There's about like 12 quantum torpedoes just getting a constant sort of like hot tub bath.
Well, he's not been on the ship for a while. The water's been drained. You can refill them quite well.
Do you know how long it takes to refill a hot tub? And all the chemicals.
With a transporter, not very long.
That is an awful lot of replicator gel, yes. But there we are. Okay. So you at least have something close to our plan to do something with. Cool. So now it's a case of everyone in shot of the primary computer core now waits to see if your guest will arrive. But let's not forget that Dr. Bertram is currently off on his lonesome. So,
would probably
Bertram.
have tried to get hold of the security team to meet him at the Botany Labs, but
Cool.
knowing Bertram, he got there quicker than everyone else.
He probably did, which means Bertram has arrived. Now, because the deck... No problem, Shaun, thank you. Because the deck is slightly darkened, the systems are on battery power, so some of those consoles that are monitoring the various samples and whatnots that Dr. Bertram has going are still active off of battery power at the moment, so Bertram is looking over the place with his attention to detail level of perception and notices that there does appear to be a wall panel missing.
I take it that's over by there, where you were just had your cursor, or is it somewhere else?
Yes, yes. That exact spot.
Okay. Have any of the sort of planned sort of storage areas look like they've been tampered with or anything like that?
Not at the moment, no, not that you can see. Everything has remained, except for the wall panel, exactly as you left it when you last did your bit of research here with Mono.
Okie dokie. I'm thinking, any sort of, is there any? I think the most likely place I think it might have gone to, given the similarities, might be the Bertram Moss. So I cautiously head over towards there.
Okay.
Okay.
So over yonder way.
Okay, so heading over by here. Looking around, any sign of anything off?
Can I get you to give me a insight and security check, please?
Okay. Any focuses?
Nope. Sadly, you don't have a focus in something is amiss.
One success.
Alright, so from this cautious vantage point, Bertram can't see any indication that the samples of Bertram Moss have been tampered with, but that's when he gets the sudden sense of something is watching him. And sure enough, he hears the patter of soft feet right behind him.
Oh. Are we in initiative, or do I have time to leap out the way?
You can try something by all means.
Okay, I'm going to try sort of dashing basically up here.
Okay. That's a quick action. That's a minor action. What about a major?
So that's a major one. These are the God, what do you call it? For the not the mitochondria, the
Mycelial.
mycelial. Yeah, thank you. The mycelial stuff, isn't it, over here?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. I'm going to well, this basically depends is if the computer is still able to hear me and actually do as I say. I want Bertram to say, "Computer, on my mark, I want you to bombard the I keep on wanting to say mitochondria, mycelial substance in the tank behind me with tetrion particles."
Interesting.
Any response from the computer?
Interesting. Huh. Okay.
This is indeed a callback from a couple of episodes ago, where the tetrion particles had an effect on the mycelial spores.
In which case, you get a confirmation from the computer activating Tetrion Burst.
Okay.
But in the meantime, the beast comes hearing out of from behind that set of boxes and leaps and pins Bertram down and just stares at him as it's just not exactly drooling.
Yeah.
But if it wanted to, all it had to do was extend its claws out more than it already is, and they would dig in. But it's not doing that. It's just regarding Bertram coldly at the moment, and then it slowly looks down, and with its one of its back tendrils, scoops out the injector that he used earlier.
Right. Okay.
Holds it in front of Bertram's face, and then constricts so that the injector cracks. At which point, something interesting happens.
Yep.
The Tetrionic burst is something that happened over here off to the side, inside of the containment unit, but I'm imagining that the mycelial spores are able to get out. Otherwise...
They did previously.
They did previously, so we're assuming that.
I was over by here the first time.
Yes.
Yep.
So, the area, just as the creature has got Bertram pinned down and is scooping out the injector, the air is slowly starting to fill with the mycelial spores, which are glowing in this rather pretty neon green kind of colour. And at first they just float around happily. And Bertram, being on his back, can look up and see them just floating around. The creature seems to be paying them no heed. But then, something interesting occurs as the mycelial spores change colour. They go from a verdant green to very much an aggressive red. And they all start to gravitate and stick to the creature. And as soon as they do, it lurches up and starts to furiously bite and scratch, and it seems that something is inflicting chemical burns on the beast. The creature backs up, gives Bertram a snarl and a roar, and quickly races off to disappear back into the vent that it had apparently either come out of or had displaced.
Okay. First of all, Bertram is going to tap his comms and said, Bertram to Andrews, the beast has just been repelled from the biological lab. It's... do I know where that panel is? Like, does that go into like a nearby Jeffries tube or something similar?
Yes.
Okay. It's now in the Jeffries tubes on deck 8 again.
Okay.
That's where we are, isn't it?
Currently, yes.
Deck 8. Yeah.
I think we're on deck 6.
No, we're on deck 8. We got down to deck 8.
Fall down. Yes.
Yeah, my deck 8.
Yeah.
I'm spacing today. I do apologise.
Oh, that's fine.
As I was saying that question, the spores, are they gravitated towards me at all, or?
Yes. But they're just
Okay.
hovering
Are they...
there. And they've turned green again.
Well, first of all, I'm going to pick myself up because I realise I'm still lying on my back because I haven't actually said I picked myself up. This is not the normal kind of scientific mindset, but Bertram has actually realised that, yeah, this is definitely a different, a completely different reaction despite the same stimuli. So it's basically going to sort of like cautiously extend a hand and both verbally and trying to think out loud, express gratitude. He's wondering if they're somehow reactive and possibly even there's some sort of intelligence behind them, because they're reacting very differently, both in terms of the same stimuli but different situations, and to myself versus the beast. I have no idea if they can understand me, even if that is the case, but Bertram is going to try at least.
So, the spores hover around Bertram without actually making contact, as near as he can tell. They hover around for a bit.
Yeah.
There's a slight pulsing of green from some of them, but that just could be the fact that they're catching the light.
Yep.
And then they slowly withdraw back into the containment pod.
Okie dokie. I'm
It is sentient life. That means we've got a talk about what to do with them after this.
Yeah, but obviously that's not the sort of
Issue. I thought that's what later. Yeah.
Bertram will ask the computer to gradually bring down the Tetrion pulse, because he is aware that that's going to be a drain on the power, and all this is kind of like becomes meaningless if we lose the power, and the spores basically end up dead anyway.
Is it? Is Bertram relaying this situation to what happened into everyone?
Oh, wrong one. Computer core for a change.
Not about the things just yet, because he's not sure exactly what to report.
Okay.
Yeah. At the moment, he's just trying to actually work out what the hell just happened.
Well, that's given me. If Bertram's not saying anything, I won't say what I've got. But I have an idea now of what potentially where this creature originates from and what we could do to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you thinking mushrooms at this point?
Maybe.
Was it a reaction against a predator that it recognised, rather than intelligence?
Oh.
Instinct
Okay, I have a possible plan as well that will work. Do you want me to start getting mine in place, and then you can get it off the ship?
Wouldn't it have recognised them the spores though, if it would have been from the same place, with that kind of predator prey kind of reaction?
This is the thing, we don't know. We don't know yet, and if Gareth's not said that information, we're just spitballing an idea that we haven't.
Good point. Yeah.
Until Bertram says.
What I imagine is once Bertram's actually sort of like done this at the plants and then made sure the plants are okay, he will be headed to meet you up, and what I do intend to actually say what happened. But I imagine by the time he's in that both position and mindset, you're gonna basically whatever's happened in here will have probably already happened. So there's going to be a bit of time where he really needs to actually work on his head what the hell he's going to say.
Yeah.
Bravo, Chief of Security, and Nova suddenly get a mind's eye impression of angrily stalking through corridors. Very, very angry now. It's not just aggression, it's definite anger. So as well as the telepaths and empaths feeling the hunger coming off of the beast, they're now getting a very precise, more precise mental picture of something very pissed off starting to prowl through the corridors, and you do get this sympathetic reaction inside of their respective bodies, where their adrenaline levels are obviously now starting to spike, and both Nova and Bravo are Bravo especially is starting to breathe heavily.
I don't like fight or flight.
And he's you know, the fact that Edwards is caught between the two of them. Bravo is starting to look around, and he was looking around anyway because, you know, Chief of Security, he's trying to look for threats, but you're now getting the very definite impression from him. His body language is changing. He's suddenly a little hunched over in the shoulders, and the way he's looking about is less looking for threats. It's more looking for something else.
Did any of us notice this?
Well, Shaun, what was that you just said?
Nova would be crouched down on all fours, going full cat predator mode, I think.
Okay, that would be obvious.
Literally a set of Morales.
Captain.
Can we tell how far away it is?
It was
Something's happening
close.
with
Maybe in one
Nova.
of the nearby corridors, but it's getting further away.
Yeah, Nova's going to be running after it.
I've also sent you a message.
Okay.
Yes, Nova's taken off. Taking off, I should say. But, yes, feeling very uncomfortable being anywhere close to Bravo at this moment. It's like that whole primitive thing of there's a predator in the room and it's very close to me, kind of unease. Bravo is actually looking quite pointedly at Andrews at this point.
Should we follow her, Captain? Or stick to
Probably.
the plan? Should we have the other additional security follow us, or stay here, Captain?
The security, the Klingons will stay here.
Okay.
Okay.
Because this room is still lit up like a Christmas tree.
So start following. Tentatively.
Okay. Give me a moment. Okay. All right. So, yes, everyone is taking off after Nova, in this order. You've clustered as a group. Bravo seems to be deliberately holding back, taking up the rear, but you're not sure if he's doing that to make sure you don't get jumped from behind, or if he's keeping you all in his sight, or what. At this point, this would be where Bertram would be catching up with a lot of you, so let me insert Bertram into here.
Okay.
Bertram would have
Captain?
seen Nova whiz past, on all fours, no less.
Okay, even for Nova, that's a bit odd. Seeing the rest and say, Captain, well, I had a very odd experience in the biolabs just now. With the creature.
Go on, Doctor.
It stalked me. I believe it might have even lured me there. It attacked me and pinned me down by the mycelial spores. But instead of immediately attacking me, it pinned me down and then stared me in the face while it deliberately drew out the syringe I used to attack it earlier and shatter it in front of me. I think it was an attempt at intimidation. I'd asked the computer to bathe the mycelial spores in tetrion particles to try and replicate the healing effect because I assumed I was about to be attacked. But instead, the spores changed colour from green to red and actually attacked the creature, chemically burning it. It didn't seem to realise it was coming. It was ignoring the spores right until the point they did so, at which point it fled out back into the Jeffries tubes through the panel it had broken. The spores flashed back to green and then they voluntarily went back into the container. I'm not sure if they reacted like that specifically into the piece because they recognised or stuff like that, but this was a very different effect to the previous time they were bathed with the same stimuli. At that point, they reached out to me and gave a healing effect. This one seemed to be almost like coming to my defence.
Hypothetically, would this creature be able to survive in mycelial space?
There's.
Or would it be more likely to originate from mycelial space?
I don't know about mycelial space. It's physically it seems to have more in common with the Bertram moss, which which had a different origin. I think it was Moss on our plane, but was mutated by the effect of the Tidikal manipulations and energies. It's not impossible it can survive in mycelial space. It can survive in the vacuum of normal space, but there's no way to know one way or the other. It didn't seem to actually have any sort of reaction to the mycelial spores until the spores actually attacked it, and it seemed to be, as far as I can tell and read from it, it seemed to have been taken by surprise on them. So if it does come from mycelial space, it didn't actually seem to have any knowledge of those mycelial spores and what they could potentially do.
But we have a potential weapon against it then.
Yeah.
So it may be worthwhile looking into the possibility of setting a 0 location on the drive and we jump into mycelial space.
Potentially. I don't know what where the Tetryon particles come to this, because Tetryon particles, from what I understand, they're not from mycelial space, they're from subspace. So I don't know how it is they're interacting.
Space is a layer of subspace.
Oh, right. Damn it, I'm a doctor, not a physicist.
Andrews will request to Vibers to start looking into the potential relationship with this creature in mycelial space and to start priming Black Alert 0 location jump.
Well, just as you're about to do that, so this will be Keshen addressing both the captain and the team and Vibers as that comes through.
Captain, Commander, I'm reading the blackout is now moving to Deck 9. That's the Bifrost drive.
Alright, it's fine. Start
Reading
energy.
Lieutenant Nova's bum badge, proceeding to the entrance to Deck 9.
Well, we were following Nova anyway. But...
Yeah, Nova's absolutely going fastest route to it.
Matt.
Yo.
Is there any way I can pick up another syringe from someone on the way? The reason being that, well, two potential reasons. One, because it worked quite well last time. If I get the chance, I may be able to try it again. But two, what might be another way, because the creature not only recognised how I did it and seemed to be both intelligent and pissed off of it, it's possible I could use it to get its attention and use its anger to distract it at a critical moment.
Interesting. Okie dokie. That would mean that you would have to stop at a replicator.
Yeah.
Do we not have first aid packs? We could just grab one from a first aid pack.
Well, technically, first aid apps don't usually have injectors. They're very specific. That's why hypersprays were invented.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I could use a hyperspray, but I think that it'll probably react better if I use a similar syringe to the one I used. That should get its attention. I'll catch you up, Captain. I'm just going to nip to a replicator and grab another one of those syringes. Might prove effective one way or the other.
Okay. Vibers, whilst all this is going on, what do you want to do?
Let's
jump back to the
so from the evidence I've been given, if we're going to do something with a Bifrost drive and we're going to try and get to mycelial space, I've got to do it now. We haven't got the time to sit and faff about. So,
the interesting thing
Vibers to Stevens.
Yeah.
Sorry, go.
So I was about to say Stevens is going to be the interesting thing with this that Stevens will probably tell you is that if you want to actively jettison something into mycelial space, the best bet would be to do essentially a half jump.
That's what I'm planning.
Yeah, a jump with no destination in mind, so just the entrance to the mycelial realm, but not the exit. As such, the ship will be half in, half out.
Yes. Okay. Stevens, prep for a half jump. All hands, Prepare for I don't know what, and it is gonna go weird. Lock everything down and arm yourself if appropriate.
Prepare for weird. I like that.
It's only grey.
Black alert! All hands to your station. Set off the colour-changing lights at least 4 times, just for good measure.
So all
Good news is we
hands
know where it's going on deck 9 because we know what's generating the most power. That's that, a dark matter Taurus spinning. Yeah, it's creating an awful lot of energy, isn't it?
Right.
Maybe the squiffy gravity on deck 9 is really going to mess with it as it tries to get there, though.
Nope.
Nova needs the gravity to be exactly like it is so she can get there as fast as she possibly can.
Well, Nova's in
we know that deck 9 has...
doesn't matter.
No, deck 9 is the deck that has the gravity is weird.
Oh yeah, that's right. The
Because
gravity goes all
Bifrost drive
squiffy when
is
the
part of
Bifrost
the
drive
build of the ship.
engages. Yes. Sorry, I just remembered. Well, you know,
It's also engaged. It's also engaged for a longer period than it's ever is before. So
right, I'm going to.
Yeah, we might have a deck 9, which might be half a deck 8 and a bit of deck 10. It'll be fine.
Let's see.
Just starts ripping the 2 decks apart. Where that med bay that you've been looking after, Doctor? That's gone. Oh, and your lab.
Right.
I think since you guys have got a Bravo with you, and he knows Nova pretty well, there probably is getting this huge sense of a predator hunting another predator coming off of him.
In fact,
we have a cat fight.
Yeah, Bravo is starting to sprint ahead of the group. And he has not got... Does he have? What's his fitness? Your fitness is 11. His fitness is 9. Claught's fitness is 9 also. So, yeah, as he starts sprinting, he's going to try and overtake everybody.
No,
Andrews could overtake the lot of them.
Avid runner. Yeah, I got rid of my avid runner foci.
But
oh, well.
Andrews' fitness is still an order and above the others, so if Andrews decides to pour on the speed, she will overtake Bravo.
Yeah, as soon as Bravo starts kind of like notifying that,
Oh, he doesn't tell you, he just does it. He just starts to accelerate.
Okay.
He's almost loping, like a wolf.
This is where Andrews just bicentennial man's past him.
That's getting more the $6 million man myself, but there we go.
It's the $6 man. We can't replace him. We just don't want to spend you a 20.
Andrews has got a rake for one arm and a bin for the left.
He's been hiding it this entire time.
I get let me think. Reason and engineering from both Vibers and Stevens. Vibers is going to be Warpfield Dynamics.
We're doing this fairly dirty, though. Would it not potentially
daring?
be your...
Want to do it daring? Because Stevens is going to be doing this, is going to be helping with this as well with her dark matter specialization, or Bifrost drive operation would be more appropriate, actually. So daring and engineering. Okay, yeah, this is.
It's dirty.
Dirty engineering. I like it. Okay, yeah.
Dirty and quick.
I could make a
do you
crass
want me to throw in something to be ironic for something dirty and quick?
You're going to read the book about it.
I could have said that sounds
when
like
we
me,
built this.
I was almost going to say that that dirty and quick sounds exactly like me, but I'm not going to say that, so I won't lower the tone of this. But procedural compliance. Okay, you're creating.
I have a manual.
You may reroll a d20.
We built this. We got a manual.
We built this city on rock and roll.
Dirty and quick.
Got a manual for dirty. Yeah. A manual.
You saw how we built this. Right. So is Stevens rolling main then, or?
Up to you who wants to go main, who wants to go aid, because either works. One is the Bifrost Drive primary, the other is the XO, so...
I'll let Stevens go main, and I'll roll to aid as XO.
Oof.
I don't like that.
Don't like that. Alright then, Webby, Stevens,
cool.
if you could. But you did create
And does Stevens have any determination?
Stevens does have determination.
Might be a good plan to use.
So, how you doing, Webby? One dice with the other one replaced by... Yep, and I haven't seen anything yet. There we go, 4 successes. Right, excellent, excellent, excellent. Alright then, so yes, there is black alert. Oh, you're re-rolling yours. Cool, there we go.
5 successes. I've got one re-roll. I needed to make sure we didn't get a problem.
The black alert and then the shit your pants brown alert. This was definitely brown alert. It's just full throttle Bifrost.
Yeah, it's not supposed to judder halfway through and make you wish you were never born. But it did.
Well, the inertial stabilizers are still probably fecked as well. So, you know, we just
what stabilizers? We're taking a leaf out of Discovery's book and turning it half on and leaving us in alert halfway through a transition.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the system spins up, and just as the energy gathers, the ship, in inverted commas, drops into space and pretty much jams itself like a wedge half into the mycelial realm, at which point everybody gets thrown around and can give me the Star Trek shake.
Woo.
As we engage in some serious ship stress. As I try and find some...
Really bad one.
We are indeed in serious ship.
You cut out a really bad time there, so it sounded like...
Good! I wasn't the main one. I was there going, please don't tell me my connection is kind of funny again. No one said anything, so I thought it was just me.
I need to find better... Oh, there it is there, silly boy. Can I get this to sound better?
You're coming through alright at the moment.
Trying to find adequate hull stress sounds. There we go. Nice, lovely, grindy sound. So this is going to be going on during whatever happens next. Speaking of, let's move you to Deck 9. Nova is, of course, the first to jump in, and the Beast and Nova just have a stare down. But it's not long after that Andrews manages to use her fitness level to jump in as well. So as much as I have added everybody to the initiative, I am going to count it only the Beast and Nova and Andrews first, and then after that everyone else arrives. And nah, that's fine. Go with that. So now I need a bit of that, a bit of that, some of this. So, well, Nova was first to arrive, so Nova has first pick.
I think she's still going to move in, but it's going to be more of a presence attack, I suppose, and just keep hitting it at its mind that she's the stronger predator and it's in her territory.
Okay.
Just try and
start marking it.
Make it hesitant and back down, basically.
If you piss on my Bifrost drive.
That sounds like presence and security to me.
Yeah. Still gonna approach. Yeah, I think she's gonna go all out at this. Because why not? See it somewhere. That one. Focus.
This is what you're up against.
Presence of security. Go. Tie, isn't it? Why didn't it do anything?
Yeah, that doesn't look right. That was only one dice.
Well, I've spent the determination, but for some reason it didn't take the tick.
Okay, for whatever reason. So that makes 2 versus 4.
No, because I used the one that gives me double.
Yep,
so
double. So that's 4 versus 4. So it's a standoff,
Yeah.
a literal standoff. So when Andrews bursts into the room, she just sees the beast is up on its hind legs, reared up to its full height, and its shoulder tendrils lashing the air. But Nova is standing right in front of it and is just, well, growling at it and squared up as much as in its face almost. So, Andrews, as usual, gets her... where is it? It's quick to action, so Andrews can definitely go next. So
Well, Andrews doesn't know that Nova is currently having a
psychic battle.
psychic battle with it. So.
Physical enhancement. So you may choose to take 3 challenge dice and stress to add a single d20 to your dice pool.
Daring security for a physical attack, isn't it?
Is indeed, yes. Thing will be resisting with its own fairly competent roll.
I'm not seeing Matt's die come through.
Your 5 successes beats my 3 successes.
Yeah,
And I take, I need to roll.
Oh, sorry, mine's on private.
Yeah. 3 dice, Jesus Christ.
So the good news is you only take 1 stress. In injuring yourself to power up your physical enhancement.
Takes 9 challenge, so buying 3 dice it takes 9 challenge. Hang on, so only 1. Doesn't say about 1 die though.
So you are rolling how
But
much?
I'm happy to take the 3 points if you'll allow it.
Sure.
To roll. Then that's 9 challenge die of damage.
Go for it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a very serious wind up and a punch. as
Oh God!
as Andrews, fully supercharges her bionic implant, and she makes a crashing impact. But the creature's body, now that you're up close, you don't remember the veins under its skin being so visible before. Maybe that's just a case of it being that much bigger and it being in your face, but nevertheless, as soon as Andrews makes physical contact with it, it flashes very, very hot. Plasma levels of hot. So this is going to be a 6 injury unless you spend 6 stress to avoid.
Checking which one it is.
Tough. So you can decrease the cost by 1, so it becomes 5 rather than 6. Nice. Andrews grits her teeth, just powers through it. And then the character must face a serious situation. Will suffer damage half the amount inflicted by the attack, so down even further. So let's go with 2. Alright. That's Andrews. Now it's the beast. Well, somebody with powered bionics has just come very, very close.
Oh dear.
I'm aware of the situation.
So if Andrews can roll me a daring and security to resist what comes next. Nice. To wit, we get... Oh dear. The beast succeeds by 2, therefore is going to drain some power out of Andrews. Now this will work somewhat different to damage. We are going to do it by inflicting stress, so we're going to go with this again as our default. Oh dear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. So Andrews loses 6 stress as a representation of the power being sucked out of her bionics, meaning she is somewhat less hardy than she was. This gives this guy its veins start to pulse with power even more. Creature is now very much focused on Andrews for the moment in time, but that's that round done, which means we move over into round 2, which is where Claude, Eric, Edwards, Bravo, Bertram all turn up. So Navis, you can elect to be Claude or Bravo or both or Eric, whomever you wish.
Darius,
I'll grab a Bravo.
You're all free. Deal with it, because you weren't here last week. Get this.
I'm not allowed to be caught.
In which case, I will go with the 2nd edition rules of uncontrolled support characters can aid, but they can't do actions by themselves, just to speed things up a bit. So, whom of you lot goes first? I would recommend maybe Andrews or Nova, because Andrews needs to really get out of this bear hug. And that's a good point, because if you sent Claude in, he could assist Andrews with getting out of bear hug.
He just runs up and walks at being a rock.
I don't particularly want to get out of it. I want to stay close range.
Okay,
and
cool.
I want to I want to take a tendril and stab it in its own chest. Absorb your own energy.
Not exactly sure that's how it works, but hey, there's only one way to find out.
Science.
We don't know that it does it. That science demands we try.
So who wants to go first of you lot?
I think Nova was still leading this, unless Shaun wants to change.
Let's go with
No,
that.
I'm happy to carry on the challenge.
Well,
Now that I've
Nova's-
given it a fleshed bag to eat off of.
Well, it's more calling it weak that it decided to attack another rather than me.
Interesting.
Hmm.
You could try presence and security again if you wish.
Yeah, I think she's more interested in proving she's the better predator, so
Okay.
I'm not fully invested. I'm going to spend a momentum for an extra dice. That's right. Yeah, why not? Let's set Star Crossing as well.
Okay. Going all in. I like.
Not bad.
Oh, no, not bad at all. Okay. Okay. Nova very much saying, yeah, you're not all you're cracked up to be. You ignored me entirely and you went for a weaker one. And look, she's all floppy now. As Nova holds up one of Andrew's nearly limp bionic arm and just waves it up and down. Beast, in that case, discards Andrew's, just casts her aside, and is going to go straight for Nova instead. Because that distraction definitely worked now. So can I get Nova to give me a daring and security, please?
Indeed.
As this is going for a straight up slash with the
Go back.
claws. No probs. Hello. Let's use this, guys. Cool. Oh, hello. Oh, dearie me. Well, So that's a 12 with 4 effects. So, unless Nova wants to suffer a 12 intensity injury, you need to spend 12 stress to avoid. But of course, we know that Nova has the ability to do so. So, once permission, they avoid the injury for free. So that was a huge claw swipe that, if Nova hadn't dodged out of the way, would have done some serious damage. Instead, it shreds the bulkhead underneath her. Almost manages to catch this critical part of the Bifrost drive.
Yeah, we're not worried about that.
Next, who's going next? Bravo, Bertram, Andrews, Edwards. Who's next?
So he can't even touch me. Weak.
I think Bravo is being drawn in by that comment.
Bravo.
Exactly. Unfortunately, he's also not thinking that clearly.
I wonder why.
So, he's gonna roll up straight in and punch it in the face.
Oh yeah. We've come to the realization: don't use phasers because it will absorb the energy.
What you're against?
I'm pulling in rapid action is better than inaction.
And he's certainly being rapid.
Yep.
Not Fist of the North Star levels of rapid, but hey, rapid nonetheless. And that was our other cross-franchise reference of the evening.
Yeah,
Nice,
Falcon
one
punched
over.
that thing. Didn't get a cross-franchise reference. I'm like, Falcon is definitely a cross-franchise.
What was it? Sorry, I missed that.
Falcon. When I said a Falcon punched it.
Oh, I missed that entirely.
Hadouken.
Well, Bravo gets one over what the Beast did, so you can either bank that. Well, yeah, let's bank that. And if you want to add more damage to an unarmed strike, you can spend 2 momentum per extra dice you want to buy.
Let's add 2. Add 1. They spend
So-
2 momentum. That's 1 extra dice.
So do the roll challenge dice option on the character sheet. That's not bad, actually. That is 5 successes, 3 effects.
4 effects.
4 effects. Knocks it back. Nice one. Bravo. Next, Bertram, Andrews, Edwards. Who's next?
I'd probably return to the fight.
Okay, need to remove the... Now remember, you do have the option of having Claude assist or Eric assist, or both. Same goes for Bertram and Edwards.
Yeah.
If you're going to try and actually sort of like knock it into place, Bertram might be able to assist because he's already pissed this fin off in a very specific way, getting in his fin and like approaching with another syringe to try and get his attention off you, so you can have a better option hitting him. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
tag
sounds
team.
fine.
Okay. Something's gone wrong. It's making me reload.
Fine. It's not your go yet, so... In that case, Bertram is going to make his presence felt. So I'm going to want presence and medicine from Bertram.
Okay.
Strangely, you don't seem to have foci to do with syringe-based intimidation or distraction. So
Weirdly, no. So I'm thinking if how far can I actually move as part?
you can get
part
to
of this?
anywhere in this room in one minor action.
Okay. So I want to try and actually get sort of, if I can, dash over here so that he's facing me and sort of like turning, away from the others so they get an opportunity.
Making a move around the spinning dark matter Taurus, I hope. He's going to die.
Oh yeah, I'm not literally going for well, which is the last thing the beast would expect.
What happened?
We're gonna need another Bertram.
What happened to Bertram? He turned himself into soup, jumping into the Bifrost prize.
He jumped into the mycelial realm. He saw all that plant and just couldn't resist it.
I am one with my people at last. So this is Bertram going to be aiding Andrews in whatever she does, so it's going to be 1 dice for Bertram unless you want to add any more using momentum or such.
Probably better for the momentum to be used by Andrews when she hits him, I reckon.
Righty-ho.
Okay. What did you say was presence and
Medicine, since you're wielding a
medicine?
syringe.
Okie dokie. Because he... Oh, I don't have a focus on it, so... Yep. And...
Alright,
1 success. So that Bertram gets over the air and then sort of waves the fin and goes, "Hey, Beastie, I've beaten you twice so far. I want to see if I can make it 3 in a row."
Andrews then, what's Andrews up to?
So spending 1 momentum to gain an extra die, I'm using physical enhancement on my arm to gain 2 additional die, which is 6 stress that I need to roll myself. It was 3 die, there's 3 additional dice, so that's 5 die. Can I do that? Is it 5 is the maximum, isn't it?
5 d20s are the maximum, yes.
So Gareth's already rolled, so I won't
Gareth's already
spend
rolled one,
momentum.
Yeah.
Well, hello then.
No.
Alright, so that's 4 in total. Not bad at all, and it is a physical attack, so it's going to be resisted. The resisty.
We are the resistor.
I'm going to throw that in again as it toughens its own hide. Three successes. Yep, it's a match. That's what you needed to achieve, so you managed to just about do it. Didn't earn any additional momentum though, so...
Isn't it 4?
No,
So I got a success
Oh,
with
4, yeah, pardon me. Silly me, silly me. How soon I forget. 4, so yeah. 1 over and above what was necessary. That can be going straight back
That
into
momentum we spent on the damage.
Yeah.
2 momentum per dice of damage. So 1 went back into the momentum pool. 2 can be spent to add an extra dice of damage.
Yeah.
Damage.
I'm trying to work this out now. 'Cause I think we got it wrong on the initial attack, because I think that's the challenge dice damage that I suffer to myself, not that I inflict.
Aha. Well, you know, it's fine.
So I think it's
We'll do it this
7
way.
die, then, isn't it? Because it's 6 for an alarm, right? Well, with the target, etc. Plus buying
Yep.
additional dice, so 7.
Oh, very good. 7 successes. 3 effects.
That takes 6 points of damage to myself, gee.
Yes, so Andrews is wearing herself down quite a bit here. That leaves Edwards. Now, there were plans to try and raise, if not lower, temperatures and stuff in order to inflict stuff on people. So, whereas so far folks have been almost physically engaging with this creature, Bertram has been distracting it, Edwards doesn't necessarily feel beholden to maintain the physical interaction. You can try something engineering-wise.
Obviously, there is actually energy in this deck.
Yes, because they're right next to the Bifrost drive, so there's lots of energy, dark matter energy, in fact. And there's the need to try and expel this thing out into wherever, so...
How is this going? As much as I'd like to try and isolate it and freeze it, I don't think I'd be going one go. And the captain is taking a battering.
You could try and wrench something from inside the walls, some kind of coolant, because heavens knows something this powerful like the Bifrost Strike is going to need coolant.
You can set off the fire sprinklers.
Yeah, that's everything, not just us. And it's not sprinklers, isn't it? It's using. Basically, they just.
Halon gas.
Yeah, it's isn't exactly pleasant for people.
So you could do something very engineering-like and just pull out a coolant tube and spray it or something. I'm just spitballing ideas.
And this drive is something we've invented, so make or whatever coolant you think it uses. And you're the first one to decide, so we roll with it.
Some kind of liquid gas time.
Whatever was lying around at the time.
It's actually duct tape coolant. Just roll them through tubes.
You could spend an action to try and create an advantage either for yourselves or a complication for it.
What's going along similar to those lines? I've already got it set as basically a high, vaguely feline frequency on the sound gun, which should affect. I'm just going to make it. I'm just going to cause it as much distress as possible to help the others deal with it.
Do you want Claude and/or Eric to assist in any way?
They would need to. It's already been tuned, and it's just literally just pointing and firing in a way that's not going to catch anyone else.
Hence
But
my...
still take.
Yeah.
I would still take the assist off of Eric to kind of like Eric to try and like get its attention away from you.
Okay. No,
Cool.
fine.
Because it's an additional dice going into the roll on.
Just like a
You've
cone,
got lots of
isn't it?
options. What do you want to do?
Well, admittedly, it's make sure the captain doesn't get crunched in the next turn. So yeah, just cause it as much distress that'll help the others as possible. Cause it a disadvantage.
I don't think it's that bothered about the captain at the moment. The captain did that to herself.
Yes, but I'm not privy to what's going on. I don't speak instinctual cat.
The captain
I'm an
just
engineer, not a biologist.
The captain punched it. You probably heard her shoulder flipping pop from punching it.
Which is why he's doing
Quite a
wanting
thunderous
it.
punch.
Which is why he's trying to make things worse for it to make sure he doesn't finish off the captain.
Okay,
I remember he flunked medicine, so you do want him trying to operate.
so this is going to be
operate,
control and
security, wouldn't
Yeah.
it be, for firing the gun?
And can I get Davis to help him by being Mr. Eric by also giving a 1 dice control and security roll, please?
Okay, so that is what do you want me to roll?
Control and security for Eric, please. Very good. Nice. So this thing had a flat difficulty of 2 because big creature wasn't actively behind cover or anything, so that is 1 over and above what was needed.
I mean, his thing ignores cover anyway.
Yes, but the point was it's a flat difficulty rather than it gets to resist. So give us the sonic gun damage then, the sound gun damage then, please.
What you say is that's the damage. It was more just to, I said, try and weaken it. So it's basically going to have this thing just turned up to a beyond normal people's hearing, specifically for felines, just to try and cause it as much pain as possible while distracting it from being able to focus on its primary targets,
All right.
specifically the captain.
So effectively, it's playing. I bet you they won't play the song on the radio.
I'm just
At high
scratching the
volumes
record.
at very high pitch.
Yeah. So yeah, just to give it a disadvantage. So it's going to have this. Yeah, pretty much just jammed into its ear. It's not going to like it.
All right. Roars in pain, still about. So next round, who's going first?
Nova, if there's no objections.
Sure. What would Nova like to try now? This.
I think
Go on. Sorry.
I think at this point she's gonna start channeling this scar. So memories of losing Cass.
Captain's on the last legs, yeah.
On its last legs, and this one feels like something she can do about it, so it would just be full Klingon glory of just going in and trying to finish it off, and also projecting the fact that it's weak and she's strong still to it. She's going for a kill blow, I guess.
A sec then. Make note of that. Alright then. So, trying to subdue it, back it into the coolant tanks. What are you trying to do? I mean, do you want to physically damage it? Do you want to propel it into an obstacle or something that you can use to freeze it?
No, this is just full Klingon. She's going for a kill. So yeah, probably pulling the dagger out and going for either a neck or its head, I guess.
That's what you're up against.
Okay. I'm gonna make one of those.
As it's pulsing with power at the moment.
Did scars act like a determination? I can't remember.
They're almost like values in a way.
Ah, right, okay.
So they can be used as justification for spending determination, yes. But you've already spent your determination, if I recall. Or have you?
Yeah, I've spent it. Yeah.
But it's a great callback, so...
Okay, advantage. Okay. Let's see how badly this goes. Start so good one. Full acrobatic rolling. Go. No.
Right, that's a 3. You haven't got anything you can re-roll, so... can you? No, so that was already clicked in.
Yeah.
5. 2 more and above. So that throws 2 threat my way. Oh no, it did put... Stop it! Counter didn't immediately go up. You're putting lots of threat into the pool.
Threat.
So it can spend some to retaliate, which is what it's going to do. So, yeah, retaliatory strike.
Yeah.
Which means Nova gets to resist. With a 1, it gets a 3. So I can spend that for an extra 1 dice on top of all of that. Nope. Okay, so 5.
Cool.
Spidoosh. And it's now the creature's go. Let me see. What has it got? Right, it's going to... You see, you all watch as it channels, as the energy in its veins start to pulse more brightly, and as it does, you feel the static in the air start to crackle, as it then emits a burst of energy that renders most of the lights dark. At which point, it is gonna do something.
Is it overloading energy?
It was an EMP burst.
Oh,
But
that
it
means the
seemed
sound gun's just gone out.
to knock out the lights.
Oh, okay.
That's when you lose sight of it, because the whole place is now drenched in shadow, and it is black as the night. But that's its turn, so somebody else can go next. So, Bravo, Bertram, Andrews, Edwards.
Do I still have the psychic link to scream coward at it?
Sure.
Cool.
But what you're getting back is very much the Predator's thing of hide in order to ambush. It's the lion or the tiger that's now using the long grass to its advantage.
Yeah. Tactics of a loser.
So
Can we?
go.
Could we potentially? Edwards could potentially vent the power from Bifrost drive into the lighting grid.
You can try.
So you say again? Did you say bend the
Vent.
Vent.
The power.
the
Vent.
the power?
Bend the
into
power.
a
Stick your
lightning
hand
grid?
in. Change its shape.
Yeah. Yeah, we've still got a big spinning ring that's generating an awful lot of energy while it's slowing down. So rather than using the brakes that I'd assumed that we'd have on it to bring the disc to a stop, we take the brake, release the brakes, and we send the power into the lighting grid.
Moving kinetic energy into. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right then, Andrews, you're up. Andrews, Edwards, you're up. Yeah.
Obviously, then we have to stop using the gun. So, yeah. So,
This sounds like daring and engineering to do with power systems to me.
doing something spinning fairly dangerously, and is quite risky. I'm gonna go with let's try something risky. Is that determination? Or was it we not? Actually, nah. Part of me's like, I can do this. A part of me's like, if something goes wrong, the captain will kill you.
Well, if something goes wrong, then, you know, you're half in of the mycelial realm, and if the very machine by which you're staying there is actually stops working, then yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to spend it to make sure this goes right. Use determination.
I am going to keep the difficulty to myself.
That's use one less dice, isn't it?
If you use determination, then yes, use one less dice and tick the box for determination. Ooh, that's good. That's very, very good. That's 3 successes. On the bean.
What's this episode called again, please?
On ice.
On ice. That's 54, isn't it?
55.
55.
A level of lighting comes back, and as a result, you can see that the creature isn't where you last saw it. Who wants to go next? Bravo, Bertram, Andrews.
Oh, go on then. Alright.
Did the lights come back on then? Sorry.
Lights are on partially, yes. They've illuminated enough for you to see most of the room, but it's still dim light rather than bright light. Not that that has much of an effect in this, but depends on your actions. I can either make things more difficult.
And we can't currently see it.
No, but Bravo is getting that horrible primal animal sense of it's now created a means by which it can stalk you all.
I think it's a really good time that we got someone to level the playing field. Fortunately, it's not a Bravo type of thing. Right. Because we're in the mycelial realm.
Semi, yes.
Well, half the ship is. We could scoop up a load of mycelial cells and pump them into this room.
Interesting. Because the outer ship's hull inside of the mycelial realm is currently being attacked as it's being broken down by the native life forms because it's an invader.
Yep.
So you're suggesting opening one of the outer vents to allow these things in?
Oh dear.
Into one room. Unfortunately, it's a room we really don't want them in.
Yeah, I would probably question not, but
insert Ralph Wiggum gif. I'm in danger.
I'm in danger of promotion and I'm on the
Promotion. Is this your way of like getting demoted back down to less responsibility?
Actually,
dead man's pointy boots.
Kill the captain, become the captain.
Right. But on that sort of note, one of the ways you can make something visible that you can't currently see
is to get it to be attacked by other things.
either get it to be attacked by other things, or make it so that it would be visible.
I will allow Bravo to do this. He can definitely get help from either Eric or Claude or both, because engineering related stuff is not really his bag or any of their bags. I am going...
It's not. What I'm actually going to get him to do is... Right. So I'm just trying to think, because we're in a... We've got this room. This room has fire stuff in it. What we got that could actually try and make it a bit more visible?
Well, if you want to bring the things from outside in to see if they attack it.
Yeah, but as said, putting them in the only thing that's holding us half in the real world might not be a good plan. jettisoning this core is a really bad idea when we're half in and half out. I don't know a way of getting us out of this part of the ship. Stop it. Right, just using Bravo's psychic stuff, do I have any sort of feeling of a direction?
Yes. So you got a good idea.
Good, I'm gonna
where they are, yeah.
charge in that direction and punch something, and hopefully it's not the bulkhead.
So he's trying to locate the beast just by this telepathic sense alone.
At this point, yes.
Okay. Insight and command with focus on telepathy.
I've already used a determination. That should have already been gone. Okay. Insight command. That's not good enough.
No. So it's
alright, which direction, which bulkhead do I
feeling.
punch?
Okay, so Bravo is looking around, trying to think, where are you, trying to get an idea from its perspective of where it might be ready to pounce from, and he hurtles off in, let's say, this direction. Rah! Smash! Right into a vent. Small mycelial particles seem to be leaking into the room now.
Did you say mycelial particles?
Yes, as in things from outside.
We didn't need to let them in. They're already getting here.
Andrews, Bertram. Who's next?
Can Bertram take a bunch of his glomeromycota and kind of like scatter them around to increase the light in here?
Sure.
Snack time. Hungry.
Okay. I'll chuck a bunch of glomeromycota around, sort of like to make some light sources.
Absolutely one of those.
Wipe that bright.
Stopping the offensive and just going, forward.
Yep. Snack time.
What I want Bertram now is to give me an insight and medicine check, but no. Actually, no. I will let you use a focus, but I'm not going to tell you which one because that might give the game away.
Three successes.
Nice. Right. So, Bertram catches, by throwing down the glomeromycota, Bertram creates an additional light source which casts shadows.
Yep.
So the ambient lighting has returned in the room to a degree thanks to what Edwards did, which makes things a little easier to see, but didn't get rid of the dimness of the light. But adding extra floor level illumination reveals movement over in this direction, which looks like something that's actively camouflaging itself, but is moving slowly in order that it's like a chameleon changing the colors of its skin. It's having to move slowly because its skin has to adapt to the change in color from behind it. So you can see a very large shape that's currently trying to blend in with its surroundings, and it seems to be zeroing in on circling to another angle to get at the captain.
Can I yell, sort of like pointing at the thing and goes, Andrew's there, it's chameleoning.
It's chameleonic.
It's chameleonic. It's chameleonic.
Andrews.
There's a part of me that's like, do I risk for a biscuit to take injury? I'm like, yeah.
Andrews with 2 stress remaining.
I'm really tempted to take an injury on this as well. I'm like,
Oh.
Yeah, fuck it. We say this. They stars don't act like determination, do they?
No. Like values though.
Scars can be used as values and therefore an excuse to spend determination, yes. But you've got no determination points left to spend, so... But they can certainly be a driver for an influence of behaviour, yes. Absolutely. So,
And what additional ones I've got?
oh,
I think I've used my StarCraft stuff. Have I? I don't think I have actually.
because the creature is stalking and is entirely unaware that you are able to see it, till just now, I'm actually going to give a flat difficulty of 2 to hit this thing. It would normally be 1, but it is partially, not exactly invisible, but it is difficult to see. And because it's part deafened, thanks to what Edwards did, it doesn't manage to actively hear the warning that Bertram gives. So it's not entirely aware that its jig has been rumbled until Andrews moves to lampoon it.
Break it.
Do I take the free points?
points?
Do I take the free dice on the physical enhancement? Tear my arm completely out of its socket.
Entirely up to you.
I think in this case it's desperate. So
Cool. So
How's your
we'll let you
doctor
land the
appearance
blow
option?
first, and then we'll do the... Oh. You have a full momentum pool now to do with as you will to add to damage.
well, I would take 2 straight away into the additional point of an additional die.
Okay.
So it's 7. So it was 2 to hit. So that's 5. That's 5
So you've
over.
got
Isn't it?
five over. So I put
Could I
how
not
many? I
grant
put
them
3 in with an
straight
extra
damage?
2. So actually, pardon me, the extra 2 for an extra point of damage is already included. And there's a full.
Yeah. Can I not just take the? Can I not just take the 3 straight to damage?
What?
Yeah, I would. So that's is that 9 die again?
Yeah.
That's against it.
Ooh.
Jesus, that's
If you want, you can spend a momentum to re-roll the blank ones. 1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah.
4 blank dice there, so can re-roll those. That's a bit better. So that's 8 successes, 3 effects.
3 effect, and then the damage to myself. Oh, fucking.
More damage to yourself almost.
Yep, she's down and she's badly hurt. As in, the damage to her prosthetic arm is so total that it snaps off and crumbles to bits, which of course
I
means
think probably
there's-
the majority of her internal, her
yeah,
internal
it causes a
stamina
cascade
connected to the arm.
damage to whatever it's connected to. Yes, indeed, my thoughts exactly. So Andrews is not in a good way. She's put her bionics under a great deal of stress and therefore has caused them a significant amount of damage. But the blow was significant enough that it landed a heavy hit that put the crack in the creature's extraordinarily tough hide. So it's at this point that something very curious happens. Bravo, suddenly feeling his mistake after having essentially headbutted, or at the very least charged, bodily straight into an access hatch, has felt the effects, the clouding effects of the beast's predatory nature shake loose as he sees all these glittering microbial neon green dust particles start to slowly float in. And at first they seem to settle on a lot of things, bits of the bulkhead, some of the consoles. As they start settling on, Bravo himself, he recoils as they actually burn him. But before more of them start to settle, they withdraw a bit and raise up into the air. At which point the colour of these creatures changes from a very bright neon green to a very angry volcanic red. And that's when they begin to swarm around the beast. The beast itself starts to swat ineffectually at these creatures as it starts to get all these blistering, burning lesions appear on its skin. What you also see is that each of these tiny life forms, as they're attacking it, also get burned by the ambient energy being given off by the beast. So they are these mycelial realm creatures are dying as they are attacking it, but they are not relenting. In fact, they are now every one of them that was busy chewing on part of the bulkhead has now detached itself and is concentrating solely on attacking the beast. This gives you a moment to do something with
teleporters.
The creature.
Beam them out.
Yeah, indeed. The creature's own field appears to have weakened significantly enough that sensors have come back online in the area. So the sensor blackout is no longer present. If you want to have somebody try and transport the beast out into the mycelial realm, you can certainly do so, unless there's something else you want to try. So what would you like to try? Alex, any ideas?
Apart from beam it out and say good riddance,
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Well, we don't. If we had something big enough that a quarry that is big enough, maybe if you were being more moralistic, freeze it up so it doesn't become a problem for future. Because also this is a sentient creature, technically. I say technically it is, but anyone else, please?
Navis, any ideas? Or you want
beam it out into. I'm on team beam it out and get out of here before we run out of ship.
Gareth.
Well, short of running up and injecting the fin with my syringe while it's being attacked by there, the only other thing I think of is either beaming out or maybe empower the mycelia with tetrion particles. Because that seemed to work quite well earlier, but it seems to be doing quite well itself.
Shaun, like I noted with Bravo, Nova is now free of the beast's influence since it's very much not present anymore. So,
Yeah, but I think he's going to be stuck now on Klingon glory mode and thinking kill shot and stab it in the face.
so,
He knows it has a mind, so...
So, are you on board for Team Beam It Out? Or
I think Nova's stabbing
I'm not
it.
going to vote against it, but yeah, she'd want to be going for the kill blow.
cool.
She's got focus on his mind, so that's where she'd be aiming.
Righty-ho. Webby, any
No,
ideas?
Andrew's unconscious.
Well, I know I'm unconscious, but ideas for how to deal with this thing. So far,
I need to deal with it. The reason that we jumped into the mycelial realm is to let it get eaten up by the mycelium.
Okay.
I'm all for getting this thing off my ship.
Okay. Latude is your guy, Davis. But I am going to say,
Okay.
Gareth, if you can be the Navis. We're going to want Structure and engineering from the Navis to assist with beaming it out.
Okay. This is a... You've called me to do my job twice today. Please, leave me alone. Right,
One
so
success for the Navis.
Hey, nice. So sensors are able to get a lock on it at last. Oh, very good. Wow, 5 successes. Well done, Gregory. So... Bye! At which point you now have to get the hell out of here. So... Back to the bridge, as the Bifrost drive now needs to be disengaged safely enough that you exit the mycelial realm without, well, leaving half your ship behind. So...
does the mycelial realm react and start doing what we expect it to do?
The mycelia retreat. Or at least those mycelian-born creatures that had access to the ship that were now they're attacking it are now retreating.
No, I meant sorry, yeah.
Actually,
now that we've beamed it out into the realm, is the realm attacking it?
Well, it's difficult to tell because the ship at the moment is still being attacked, but external sensors indicate that this creature is indeed still alive and out there and is just running for its life as it's being relentlessly attacked by these creatures. Some of the...
Oh, it's gone home.
Some of the spore-like creatures do still remain inside of the Bifrost Drive room, and they hover about for a moment before they start gathering, whilst coloured green again, around Dr. Bertram. They just hover around him almost like a halo for a moment before they retreat back out the vent they came through.
See the mycelial saviour?
It's Mushroom Jesus. Yeah.
Mycelial Messiah.
The mycelial Messiah.
Is
I
that
have a
Mycelial
feeling that
Messiah?
I'm going
Is
to be
it very
having
naughty
words with the
doctor?
captain at some point when he finds out. Oh, when she finds out, because she's unconscious at the moment.
Can I have Stevens and whoever wants to give us some assistance to exit the mycelial realm safely?
Who rolls for Lenny?
Lenny. Interesting.
He's
Alex,
sat on the helm.
Alex, let's have you roll for Lenny. Control and con large ships. He's trying to pull this thing back safely into real space, whereas Stevens is trying to guide this thing out using daring and engineering with Bifrost Drive operation. 3 momentum in the pool.
You can spend 2 to gain an extra die then? From
1 to gain an extra dice, or you could spend all 3 to gain an extra 2 dice.
I'd say we spend all 3. Everyone's happy with that?
Go for it.
Groovy.
What's the worst that could happen? So that's 4 die.
Well, I've still got 5 threats, so
No,
I got
3 dice.
I still got ammo in my gun.
Yeah, but we build momentum like
Yes.
tomorrow, so you know we'll have 4 momentum after this task.
Yes. I have no doubt. So there is a terrific lurch as the ship wrenches itself from the divide between 2 different realities, and for a moment there's a horrible screeching sound as parts of the hull protest against this whatever it is, till eventually, with a jerk, the ship emerges out from mycelial space and everyone breathes a sigh of relief.
I'm going to, I think Bertram should be rushing over to tend to the captain.
Yes, needless to say, the captain needs to be taken to the medical bay immediately because she has done a tremendous amount of damage to her bionics, and so they need to be repaired rather swiftly. Nobody else was seriously injured, thank goodness, and the beast has been expelled into a different dimension, so that's all gone and taken care of. The telepaths and empaths who had any kind of sense of this thing, that's completely disappeared. Whether or not the mycelia in the botany research lab respond the same way again is potentially an issue for another day. But unless there's something else specific that anybody wants to do before we draw a close to this particular episode, we already know that Doc is seeing to the captain.
Yep.
Anybody
Eat
else?
all the mushrooms.
More mushrooms, okay.
All the mushrooms.
All the mushrooms, especially the ones that make you glow in the dark.
Yep. The next week.
Yeah. I mean, Bertram has perfected it, so that doesn't happen. But these are the prototypes that Nova never gave back. So, yeah. Okay, cool. So, unless there's nothing else, then
Assume that Cruz recovers. Assume that Cruz recovers from the hypothermia.
Yeah, because Cruz does manage to get. They do manage to save her, so. That's the coldest she's ever been. And she didn't like it.
I think Andrews' cortical stimulator in the back of her neck when Vibers goes through the readings, he just got this moment where he's just going from the pain as she then blacks out.
Okay. So, Starfleet science and xenoarchaeology are very keen to get their hands on the probe. Probe? Was that a good word for it?
No,
it was an asteroid,
it wasn't a probe. It was
a capsule.
Pod. Thank you. Capsule pod. That's what I was looking for. Pardon me. So yes, they're very interested in sending those for further examination later. There's an awful lot of xenoarchaeological data in there that could be pored over for years to come. And of course, it also opens up potential for others to explore the areas where this ancient civilization may have been. Plus, there is the one lasting question of, did you in fact send the comet beast home? Or did it actually originate from somewhere else? Because the energy siphoning method was terribly, terribly close to the Bertram moss, so is that coincidence? Or does that mean that they are related somehow? But those aren't questions that can necessarily be answered right now. And that, unless there's anything else anybody has to add, is where we'll be drawing this episode to a close.
Dun, dun, dun.
So that is episode 55, On Ice, done. I would just like to say, in that case, thank you very much to everybody who stuck around to watch. We hope you enjoyed it, and I hope my players did too.
Yes, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for running it.
Thank you.
It may or may not interest folks to know that this episode was mostly written by myself entirely. This is not based on any of the released material, but
You're breaking up for anyone else, or wasn't me?
Sorry? Am I breaking up?
You're breaking up. For me? Oh, anyone. Cool.
Okay. Well, I will try and wrap this up as quickly and succinctly as I possibly can, though. This was written by myself, not by Modifius Entertainment, but I did wholly rip off the idea from an episode of the 80s cartoon Centurions. So...
From the 18?
Sorry?
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. I'm like, what? An episode of the 80s?
The 80s cartoon, the... shoot, I've forgotten the name of the thing now. Centurions.
Ooh, God, it's been a while since I've heard of that.
Machine, power supreme.
If you can spot the episode it came from, kudos to you. In the meantime, thank you very much, everybody. I ask you to do like the Vulcans do, which is to live long and prosper, as well as maybe be a bit careful about strange things that you pick up in space. Maybe read the instructions first. But then, of course, if you get the instructions in a different language, maybe get someone who can read the instructions before you go opening the box and seeing what's inside. But in the meantime, also
Where's
engage
the fun in that?
in infinite diversity, in infinite combinations, especially in the weird days that we seem to be living in, where people seem to want to go backwards rather than progressively forwards. And we will indeed see you when we see you next. Thank you very much, everybody. Hailing frequencies are now closed. Bye-bye.